This past year was the final season of the Pac-12 as a full 12 teams, with almost every team leaving to a bigger division, and leaving only 2 teams in the Pac-12, being Oregon State and Washington State, my favorite team, unfortunately. But I personally don't want to see the Pac-12 fizzle out, so today, we are going to be adding 10 teams with a lot of potential that could realistically join the Pac-12 in the near future if it sticks around. And we are gonna see how the Pac-12 could play out with those new teams. But super quick, I'm gonna make this intro as short as I can. I have 3 things to say. Be sure to leave a like on the video if you enjoy, because if we get to 3,000 likes, whenever we hit that goal, I have a very similar challenge to this planned. It isn't exactly the same, but I will say it involves every conference. That's my hint. I think it would be so much fun. I don't want to completely give away what it'll be, but I think y'all would really enjoy it, so leave a like if you want to see that. It'll let me know you do. Second thing, let me know any challenge ideas y'all have down in the comments, because I might do whatever the most liked one is, so go down and like any fun ideas you see in the comments. I'll probably do that sometime next week. And last thing, I am pretty much only going to be doing college football rebuilds on the channel, so be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on notifications. I don't plug that enough, but be sure to do both. We're very close to 60K. But without further ado, let's get this conference cooked up. And I think I already know what I'm gonna do, so let me get it put together. And here's what I set up for the new Pac-12. We did add a lot of Mountain West teams, but I didn't want to just make it the Mountain West. So I added a few up-and-coming AAC teams, like UTSA and Tulane. I basically just went with a bunch of teams that are rumored to be joining the Pac-12 if it does stick around. And I also should mention, this is gonna be a 50% experiment rebuild and a 50% rebuild, because a lot of people have been asking me to rebuild my favorite team, Washington State. But this conference also isn't final. There is a good chance we switch out some of these teams by the end of this. Maybe kick out some underperformers, move them back down to the Mountain West, and maybe bring up some overperformers from conferences like the Sun Belt, what's left of the Mountain West here, and what I added to the Mountain West so it wasn't 4 teams, the MAC, stuff like that. So this should be a ton of fun, and it's gonna be super interesting to see how this new conference does. So let's get into year 1, and we will see how this conference does. But here's some of the preseason All Pac-12 players, now that we moved everything around. A few Washington State players in here, but not as many as I expected, necessarily. We do have a few more on the second team, but really not many Oregon State players either. This is kinda dominated by Mountain West teams. It's interesting. So this could be a very good conference. But in recruiting, we found a gem quarterback in Matthew Vanover. It's a very long shot to get him because he is a 4-star, but we have to try. And we are at least on the list. We're number 6, probably gonna go to Washington or Oregon, but we are gonna be trying as hard as possible to get him for obvious reasons. And there are 2 5-stars with the last name Umenyiora. I guess not brothers. They're both from different schools. Unfortunately, one of them is a bust, but I mean, he still doesn't look bad, to be fair. But we are gonna try our absolute hardest to revive the Pac-12 here and make Washington State the best team out of the group. But through the first couple weeks here, the 2, or I guess 4 best teams are ones you might not expect. 2 of them make sense. 2 of the highest overall teams in the conference, in Tulane and UTSA. But Fresno State is 2-0, and Air Force is 2-0. Now, we have had it very rough through the first 2 games, being outscored 18-99, the worst point differential in the conference by a mile. And I don't think it's gonna get much easier for us this week as we play Washington. Should maybe be close, but I'm not sure if it will be. Okay, well, unsurprisingly, we lost to Washington, but we were making really good progress with some of these 4-stars, but we got locked out because we're doing so poorly. We had massive leads for both DeMarco Cota, who is a gem, and Lane LaRue at free safety. So hopefully our play can turn back around. But now through 7 games, we are only 2-5. I don't know why we're so bad. We definitely don't have the worst team on paper, but we're out here losing to teams like Arkansas State and playing close with an FCS team. That is insane. But more importantly, how is the rest of the Pac-12 doing? So Fresno State State is undefeated at 5-0. Tulane is 5-2. Boise State 4-3. But ironically, two of the four worst teams in the division are Washington State and Oregon State, the two Pac-12 teams. I thought things would change the more we get into the season, but right now, Oregon State is on pace to get demoted. We won't demote either of these two teams, but they maybe should be. But I set as many visits as I could for this week against Hawaii, hoping that we could beat them. I'm not 100% sure if we did beat them, but it worked out because we got David German, a 4-star receiver, which is great because we have a lot of receivers that are close to graduating. We also got a punter. That's cool, I guess. And that's all we got, unfortunately. I thought we would get a few more, but hey, that's better than nothing. And we did get a win, thankfully, because we needed one. And we land another 4-star the next week, Mitch Milanovic, we're gonna say. So I'm glad we went for as many 4-stars as we did, because it is definitely working out. And we are slowly improving here in the Pac-12, about mid, just above mid, I guess. I guess there is no mid. Fresno State did finally lose a game, but they still have the lead of the division, Tulane at 2. But hopefully we can be at the top of that list pretty soon. We're getting all the 4-stars. Brandon Ojamo, definitely an interesting last name. Wouldn't say that fits his face necessarily, but we'll take it. Oh god, we have the Pac-12 Bowl this week. Hopefully it isn't that bad of a game in real life. I mean, this isn't the real schedule, but I think it does happen around the same time. But it looks like we did win. It's always easy to tell if you won a game based off, well, I guess it says we're 6-6 up there. We were 5-6, but the amount of XP and then if your championship contender goes up or down. So we do finish 500 somehow in year one, but what happened with the rest of our conference? So we barely had any in-conference play this year, but we should next year. But the best team was Tulane, who finished ranked number 17, with UNLV at number 2, Boise State at 3, Fresno State at 4, despite being the conference leader for the majority of the season. And then we finish as number 5, so not too bad. It could have been much worse. Now, unfortunately, most of our conference did have a losing record this year. It looks like some teams here do at least have one more game to play. So I guess maybe Boise State could pass UNLV up. I mean, Fresno State could even technically finish at number 2, or at least 3. Okay, wait, something weird's happening here. So after we went to the next week and got the final records, thankfully Oregon State didn't finish in last. That would have been embarrassing for the Pac-12. San Jose State did. And, you know, some teams shifted around through here. But Fresno State, am I wrong? Or were they 6-0? They were. They have a 6-loss streak with 6 losses. Now let's get a look at their schedule. How does that happen? They came out and beat Michigan in week 1, who finished 7-5 unranked. And then they beat up on some bad teams. And then they lost to Georgia, and that just spiraled the rest of their season, I guess. And they got absolutely smoked by 3-9 UCLA in week 14. Unlucky. Ooh, and Kyron Drones wins the Heisman Trophy. That's interesting. Oh no. We do make a bowl game, thankfully, but we are going to be taking on number 19 Ohio State in the Quick Lane Bowl. I don't know how Ohio State is only number 19 at 8-4, but let's see what other bowl games we have for the conference. Hopefully I don't miss any, because this is a lot of bowl games. But UNLV is going to be taking on UMass in the Hawaii Bowl. Tulane is going to be taking on Nevada, so hopefully Tulane can win that. Fresno State is going to be playing USF, South Florida. Boise State is going to be taking on Miami, and UTSA is going to be taking on Western Kentucky. Now, I am expecting to get absolutely blown out here against Ohio State, but let's see what happens. I mean, we got Pac-12 Player of the Week, but we still finished 6-7. Okay, yeah, we lose 49-6, but UNLV wins their game. Tulane barely beats Nevada, squeaks out by 6 points. Fresno State beats South Florida. Boise State unfortunately loses to Miami, and UTSA unfortunately also loses to Western Kentucky. But not a bad year at all for the new Pac-12. Some bowl game wins, a decently ranked team, and once we get more inter-conference play next year, there should hopefully be less horrible teams, ideally. Okay, I think I'm finally getting the hang of recruiting in this game. I guess it's only the second franchise I've ever done, but we had a very good class. I think we got 7 4-stars. Let's see the top classes. Okay, we were number 25 as Washington State. I can't wait for people in the comments to be like, oh, I get 10 5-stars stars every year. It's so easy. What are you doing? Look, I'm learning, okay? But for the rest of our conference, is there anyone else up here? Maybe Tulane? Tulane all the way down at 63, despite being ranked 11 in the country. I mean, I know it doesn't exactly work like that, but you'd think they would have a little bit better of a class. Oregon State at 59, though. I almost missed them. Missouri all the way down here, not part of our conference, but that's still weird. San Jose State, nice. Overall, our conference didn't really get too many great recruits yet, but as we start to do better, they very well could. And now the satisfying part, training results. We honestly didn't get anything too crazy. John Mateer only went up 1 overall, but thankfully most of our receivers did develop, and we are definitely up in overall by a decent bit. But it looks like Tulane stays at an 82 overall. I think that's what they were before. Mekhi Hughes is now up to a 92 overall though. Mario Williams 88. Unfortunately though, I don't think many other teams in our conference did develop, so we might have to carry this year. And I'm gonna make an interesting change to the conference here. So our worst team, not including Oregon State, we're not getting rid of them, but other than Oregon State, our worst team was San Jose State at 3-9. So we are gonna be moving them back to the Mountain West, and we are going to be adding Toledo, which doesn't sound like much, but they were pretty good this year. I think 9-4, something like that. And if you haven't watched the video of me rebuilding one of the worst teams in the game, Ball State, I think Toledo swept us, even when we made the playoffs, which I guess there's a spoiler. I think they were our one loss that year. So we're gonna add them to the Pac-12. I know they don't fit the West Coast theme, but no conferences are really area themed anymore. It's just about money. But we are gonna be going for another really big recruiting class. Lots of 4 stars once again, and we found a few more gems. There's Ben Nealon. He's only 5'7", but we have a lead for him. There's Isaiah Opara. We're not on the list yet, but I did just put 50 points in for him, or 50 hours. But yeah, we're pretty much in the mix for all of these 4 stars, or we will be very soon. I should maybe even be smarter about my hours next week, because guys like Bobby Krause, I want to keep that lead. Same with Tyler Beauplan, but I kind of prioritize the gems here. But let's get into year 2, and this should be an even better year for the conference, hopefully. And we already started off strong getting Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Week with John Mateer, but we lost? I thought from the amount of XP that we got, I thought for sure we beat Illinois. Was it at least close? Oh, we lost by 3 at home too. And it looks like Devin Wright got Defensive Player of the Week for the Pac-12 for Tulane. It's kind of weird it lists the defensive guy over the offensive guy. Usually it's the other way around. But after the first couple weeks, unfortunately, there's only one undefeated team in the conference, being Fresno State. Tulane lost a game, now they're unranked, but UTSA is doing well. They're 2-1. A few 1-1 teams, but a decent amount of winless teams, with Toledo being 0-3 as soon as they join the conference, of course. But this week, we have the Apple Cup. Now, we are absolutely gonna get just decimated, but we do have the same overall as Washington. I guess they have a 1 overall better offense, but we both come out to an 84. So hey, all we can do really is see what happens. I'm gonna guess 45-13. Weirdly specific score, but that's my guess. We did get 570 XP, but I see we are 1-2. I mean, we got Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Week, I guess, but what was the score? 35-17. Okay, could be worse. But now through 6 weeks, now in week 7, something interesting just happened here, which is maybe the best thing that can happen in this type of rebuild. We just beat a former ranked Pac-12 team in Cal. They were like 12, something like that. We knocked them all the way down to number 25, and we are now sitting at 4-2 after being 1-2. Now I think we're gonna be 4-3 as we play Penn State this week, but it was a good run. We still don't have much in-conference play. This is the wrong conference. Oh, we don't have any in-conference play, but a lot of the teams here are doing well. It seems like there are less bad teams. Only 5 teams so far with a losing record, but Fresno State is at 5-1. Both UTSA and Tulane Tulane are 5-2. Unfortunately, though, recruiting is not going very well this year. We're on pace to get decent amount of players, but a lot of the guys we're going for, Washington is stealing, which makes sense. It's still annoying, though. But we finally get our first commitment. It is one of the gems, Caesar Patino, so he's really a 4-star, I guess. Looks like he's the only player who committed this week, but we'll still take it. Oh, okay. We didn't get much XP, though. How bad was the loss? Okay, could have been worse. 35-13. You know, we're hanging in there with higher ranked teams more this year. I still feel like we should have played closer with Washington. I mean, the last game these two teams played in real life was like a 3-point game. I feel like Washington State is really underpowered in this game. I mean, they didn't have a good record last year, but they at least played teams close for the most part. But okay, we're finally getting a couple more recruits, just a couple 3-stars, but hey, we'll take it. Did we lose to Sam Houston State? No way. Okay, our defense must have really sold because we still got Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Week. John Mateer, 5 touchdowns, no picks. What happened? Do I want to know? It was a 1-point game. I mean, Sam Houston State has a good record, but it is Sam Houston State. Wait, is it not State? Is it just Sam Houston? What? Who cares? They're irrelevant to me. We should have beat them. Are we going to go on a losing streak now? I hope not. But now at the end of the year, the conference wasn't great this year. Tulane finished as number 10, though. I guess not finished because the season isn't completely over. They still have a bowl game in the Pac-12 championship, but there were a lot of losing teams this year, and despite being the highest overall team in the conference, we finished as 5-7. Only 2 teams in the Pac-12 had winning records this year, in Tulane and Fresno State. Hopefully next year we can get more in-conference play. I don't know how many. I'm assuming it has schedules like predetermined or something, so hopefully it stops doing that soon, but let's see. What are the bowl projections? We're not going to have many Pac-12 teams, but we should have a few. So Tulane is going to be taking on USC again. And do we have anyone else in bowl games? I don't see Oregon State unless I'm blind, which is very possible. I don't see Fresno State either. But the Heisman Trophy for 2025 goes to Miller Moss. He had 4,200 yards, 42 touchdowns, 8 picks for USC. So Tulane is going to have a tough one in the playoffs here. Oh, now I see Oregon State. It's going to be Oregon State versus Fresno State in the Armed Forces Bowl. And UTSA is going to be taking on Cincinnati. Good luck to our teams, but we'll at least get one winner for sure. But the Pac-12 championship was apparently Tulane versus Toledo. This is why we need more conference play. At least Tulane was in it, but Toledo at 5-7 wasn't even close. But Tulane did obviously make the playoffs, and they played Texas close. Only ended up losing by 3. I really want to see one of our teams do well, so hopefully they can eventually. But we, of course, have a few players leaving with a lot wanting to transfer. Oh, no. So obviously we have a lot of graduations. Those are, to be expected. But we need to get these players back. Okay, we only got 2 back. We deserve to be doing better, though, man. We have a good team. I'm sure they won't, but I hope they, at some point, improve the simulation in this game. Because I don't want this to be another Madden when it comes to simulation, where every single game feels like an upset. But let's see, we've gotten an okay amount of players so far. Not as many as I would like, but a few. Let's see if we can go hard for any good transfers. But here's the class we had this year. I don't think we got a single 4-star, unfortunately, unless you want to count Patino, because he's a 3-star gem, but no actual 4-stars. So I highly doubt we ranked very high this year. Oh, you can just straight up go to the Pac-12? Okay, let me check that. So Tulane had the 40th class, better than last year. We still had number 49. That's not too bad. Boise State got 59. Surprisingly, though, Oregon State only with 104, and Fresno State only 84, despite being arguably the best team in the conference, maybe the second best, behind Tulane. So, I mean, this was a pretty good class for us. Obviously nowhere near as good as last year, but that would be hard to compete with when we were so bad this year. I guess we were only like 1 win worse, but I don't know, it just felt a lot worse. So not too bad, and really it looks like Tulane is our last hope. Maybe Washington State too, if we can do as well as we deserve to. And despite not having that good of a class and losing a few players to transfers, we still go up to an 85 overall. And also we got 17,000 XP. That might be the most I've ever seen. I'm sure I'll see a lot more than that the more I play this game, but that's still crazy. But now for training results. Clearly it went pretty well. AJ Hassan something, went from a 78 to an 87. Benji Howden went from like a 74 to an 84. Wow. Unfortunately, our receivers didn't develop much. That's kind of one of the things I was hoping for. Isaiah Cobbs developed like 12 overall, or 11. We got some pretty good development. Gerard Christic developed like 7 overall. He'll probably be our starter here pretty soon. Braden Conklin, what was he before? Was he a 74? Dunham didn't develop literally at all. I think Conklin went up 12 overall. I'm honestly surprised we didn't go up more than just 5 overall, because we were an 80 after we lost some players. Now up to an 85. Hey, we'll take that. That's huge. But for the teams in the rest of the conference, nobody else is really developing all that well, unfortunately. Tulane has stayed in 82 the whole time, despite having a lot of success. So we are the best team in the conference by a lot, by 3 whole overall. Air Force is sitting at a 73 overall, and as we did last year, I think we're gonna boot a team, and I think that is gonna be Colorado State. So should we steal a Mountain West team? It looks like Nevada's been pretty good, 11-3. We could also steal a team like Liberty, who's ranked. FIU, that would be kind of fun. North Texas? All right, well, we are gonna send Colorado State back down to the Mountain West, and let's scoop up North Texas to the Pac-12. We'll see if they do well. They are a 79, they aren't too bad. It doesn't seem like overall really means anything though, as is the case with Madden, unfortunately. But let's get into year 3 here, and now hopefully we can finally finish with more competitive teams. All right, well, we have the #1 class in the preseason, because for some reason a receiver committed before we even, added him to the board or offered him a scholarship or anything. That's a bold strategy, but it worked out for him, I guess. I mean, he sucks, but it worked out. But we do not have an easy schedule this year. We might not win a game until maybe this range, because we play number 24 Arizona, LSU, number 17 Kansas State, Liberty, who was ranked last year, Washington. I don't know if SMU is good in this game. It's a scary schedule. Still not many Pac-12 teams, but UTSA at least. This is terrifying. We are gonna have to play out of our minds to win even 7 games. I mean, these are a lot of games we probably should win. I mean, Arizona's only 1 overall. I guess not even 1 overall, but their offense is 1 overall better than ours. But they're probably just gonna blow us out of the water. We lost. Big surprise. But how bad was it? We got Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Week, Kenny Worthy. No, it was only a 1-score game. Okay, that's fair. We were about the same overall, but they were a touch better, so I'm fine with that loss. But at this point, we deserve to win these close games with how rough we've had it. All right, well, the season's going about as well as you would expect. We're 0-3 so far. Think I need to fire both of our coordinators eventually. I wanted to last offseason, but I must have been too late. I thought I checked every week, though, to see when we could fire them. But more importantly, how is the rest of our conference doing? So Air Force, being the lowest overall team in the conference at a 73, is 2-0. Oregon State is also 2-0, and UTSA is 3-0. Both North Texas and Tulane are 2-1, and then we are the worst team at 0-3. Unlucky. But now, after the first 6 weeks of the season, we are unsurprisingly 2-4, despite being the best team in the conference by a lot. UTSA is 6-1, leading the conference. Tulane at number 2. They're ranked number 22. Boise State and Oregon State are both 4-2, and North Texas is 4-3, with UNLV being the worst team in the Pac-12 at 1-5. Gross. There are a lot of 2-4 teams this year, and Utah State at 2-5. We really need to pick it up, though. I mean, we are massively underperforming every year, and I don't know what to do about it. At least in Madden, you can kind of, change the playbooks, so maybe we should do that here. But y'all are gonna have to let me know if there's like a good strategy to go with for playbooks. I'm assuming you want to match the playbook in the scheme, but what if we don't do that? Just to experiment a little bit, because it isn't working anyways. Let's just go regular base 4-3. We'll see if that works. Oh, and our 87 overall right tackle has allowed 5 sacks already. Honestly, though, our stats aren't very bad. Like, we're getting pressure mostly. I don't know. Our passing is good. Our rushing is good when we do rush the ball, which isn't a whole lot. But let's sim a few more weeks and we will see if things improve. Hopefully they do. But now through 10 weeks, UTSA is still the leader of the division at N2, or conference. I'm gonna call it division a lot. I'm used to Madden. Whatever. Boise State is up there at 6-2, North Texas 6-3, Oregon State 5-3, but the most surprising one is Tulane at only 6-4. Still a winning record, but nowhere near as good as they have been. We're kind of bouncing back, now 4-5, but to be fair, our schedule's just been really easy lately. I don't know if we're gonna keep it up, but I mean, we haven't had a winning record with an 85 overall team. This sucks, for us at least. But I think I'm gonna make the executive decision to make this my last year rebuilding Washington State. After this year, we're just gonna turn auto recruiting on because this team is already good enough on paper. I can't really do much more. So we're gonna stop the rebuild and we are gonna more so focus on how the new Pac-12 does. But this year in the Pac-12, it was really interesting. So UTSA did end up winning the conference, with North Texas and Boise State ending up at 8-4. Oregon State and Tulane both 7-5. The worst year for Tulane so far. And then the worst team this year was Air Force, with Fresno State not too far ahead of them at 3-9. You know, previously one of the best teams in the conference, if not maybe the best, other than at least Tulane. Also, Toledo was really bad this year. I thought they would be, you know, up in this range. Air Force, I thought they would do well, but they are a really terrible team on paper, so we might kick them out. We'll see. I know it isn't realistic to switch teams out every year, but it's fun, all right? At least to me. But how do we fire coaches? I'm sick of our coordinators. I did it earlier, and now I can't remember how to do it. Maybe I already passed it, I don't know. But we are really getting screwed with transfers again. Oh no. If only we could do as well as we should as an 85 overall team. Braden Conklin obviously being the big one here, but also Leo Pulalasi was very good for us this year. Braden Conklin doesn't come back. Leo does. That's good. We're gonna have to make decisions here. Which ones are the most important to the team? Tyler Vela is only 67, but he's also only a freshman, and he has high return chance, and he does return. Isaiah Lyons is only a redshirt sophomore, so he still has a couple more years, and he is medium. He does stay, and then maybe we can convince... Oh no, that was it. That's all we get to keep. Okay, well, goodbye to our best player and 3 other solid players. Oh my god, the marching band music in the background is gonna drive me insane. We need other stuff, please. It genuinely, I am not exaggerating, the whole night after the first day I played this game, that it is all that played in my head for the next, like, full day. It's like a brain worm. They need to change it. There are some insane names in this game. Kavion Thunderbird. Wait, is that a real player? No way. What a name. That might be the greatest name I've ever seen in my life. Shidu? Okay, maybe not. Maybe he takes the cake. Sateki Shidu. Interesting. But here is the class we ended up with. It definitely is the worst we've had so far, but we did get a ton of 3 stars, to be fair. I did what I could. I doubt we're anywhere close to the top class. We're probably lower than last year, but let's see where the Pac-12 teams rank. So Tulane ended up with number 43. Good class for them. Boise State got 53. Fresno State 62, and then we were at 63. So worse than last year, but we didn't really have much of an opportunity to any 4 stars. I went for a lot of them, believe me, just none of them were interested. UTSA, despite being ranked, ended up as number 85. That's crazy. But that is going to be my last recruiting period. I'm just going to let the CPU handle it from now on, because this team is already about as good as I can get it for now. But our training went pretty well. Maybe not as well as last year, but still. Benji Howden went up to a 90 overall at tight end. AJ Hassan didn't go up at all, I don't think. Milanovic went up a few overall. Cowgill at defensive tackle went up a few. Some pretty good development, nothing too crazy. I don't think Gerard Christic developed at all. I was really banking on him developing, and he didn't. One thing I do wish is, I wish it told you how much these players develop, because it just shows their new overall. It doesn't say like plus X amount, but it's not the end of the world. Wow, our receivers developed a lot, thankfully, because it was looking rough. And we have insane tight end depth. Javier Blizzard, another crazy name. He's an 85 overall as our number 2 tight end. So really good development. We aren't as good of an overall team as we were last year, but still very good. I just wish our quarterback developed a little bit. Just a little bit. We could even start Joey Caesar, who I'm not gonna lie, I thought was a punter. Okay, no, I'm thinking of Bradley Tobias. I noticed something. Joey Caesar has 96 speed, 96 96 acceleration. We might have to start him. Evans Chuba has 96 change direction. That's crazy. I think we'll start Caesar this year, even though he has a deal breaker. He is only a freshman too, so he's gonna be here a while, assuming he doesn't transfer away, which probably. But for conference changes this year, we got Air Force out of here and we added Nevada, who I think was the best team in the Mountain West a couple years ago and then was like the second best this last year. So hopefully they can help us improve even more. We'll see. Sometimes the first year for new teams here is a little rough, but we'll see what happens. I honestly kind of forgot Utah State was even here. They've been kind of mid every single year. They are a decent overall though. We are still the best in the conference by 2 overall, so hopefully we can finally play like it. But like I said, I'm done recruiting, so let's get to the start of year 4 already. And I'm not even gonna ask too much. I just hope we can do well enough. That's all I'm asking. But we simmed all the way to week 10 of 2027. Of course, we're still doing poorly, but Texas, what happened to Texas? They're 2-7? I know they've been a little disappointing in real life for a while, but not that disappointing. But for the rest of the Pac-12, the best team right now is an actual Pac-2 team, Oregon State at 7-2. Someone needs to tell me in the comments how you can set up conference games in Madden or in College Football 25, because we still haven't had any conference games. I mean, very few per year. This year, UTSA is only 1-8. We do have a few winning teams this year, but nobody too dominant, unfortunately. But not too many horrible teams, just a few. One of them being Nevada, who we just added. But we could maybe add Bowling Green this year if we want to. Sam Houston. Arizona State is really struggling in the Big 12. I feel like that's probably gonna be about right in real life. Although, I don't know. We could also add a team like Coastal Carolina. That would be kind of fun. Old Dominion, Texas State. James Madison is only a 73. That's insane. And for recruiting, it sure is trying. Wait, you can get more hours on players than just 50? Why did I not know this? Well, that's my fault. You learn something new every day. Probably doesn't matter too much, but I'll try that the next time I recruit. But let's get to the end of this season. I accidentally just went 1 week, but let's see how the conference finishes in year number 4. But here is how the Pac-12 ended up at the end of the year. Oregon State ended up as the best team this year, going 10-2, ranked 17. I mean, they're close to a playoff team. I guess it would be a long shot. A lot of teams would have to lose, but I guess it could be possible, maybe. Unfortunately, we don't get conference championships here though. But we finished 6-6, same with Boise State and Toledo. And then UTSA, what happened? They finished 2-10, same with Utah State. We might demote Utah State this year because they've never been better than mid, I don't think. We won't demote UTSA because this feels like a down year, maybe. I mean, it is a down year, but we'll see if they bounce back. Damn, Tulane put up some points, 431, and they still only went 7-5. They must have lost a lot of close games and blown out a few in the ones they did win. But I already fired our coordinators. They're gone. I mean, 6-6 is the best we've been in a few years, but it's still not nearly as good as we should be. But we should get a bowl game, so we'll see who that's gonna be. But DJ Lagway wins the Heisman Trophy for Colorado. Very good stats. And we are gonna be taking on number 24 Florida in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Gross. We are gonna get probably destroyed. I know I've said that a lot, but to be fair, when I predict it, we usually do. Now, Florida's ranked number 24, of course, 8-4. And you know what I haven't done that I probably should do more of? Let's look at the top 25. Who's actually up here? I feel like it's gonna be weird. It is. Number 1 is Iowa at 9-4, despite losing 2 in a row. Oh no, that doesn't mean 2 in a row. That's last week. What? How did they move up to number 1 with a loss? I'm really confused. But Wisconsin beat Nebraska and moved from 1 to 4? What? What am I missing here? Maybe this isn't updated? I don't know. But yeah, Oregon State is number 16 now. Bowling Green is up here in East Carolina. Okay. Overall, though, not too unrealistic. I thought it would be much weirder. But let's see if we can somehow beat Florida in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. I'll show you a Mayo Bowl. No, we didn't. I saw we're 6-7. All right. Well, we got Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Week, I guess. Do they even do Conference Player of the Weeks during bowl games? I actually have no idea. I'm such a casual with college football, man. What was the score? What's the damage? 52-17. Ouch. And we somehow beat Tennessee? We almost beat Texas, but we lost to New Mexico and got destroyed by Florida International. Huh. No comment. Wait, did we even have coordinators? I fired them before this game, and I don't know if we've hired new ones yet. Okay, they did hire. They're not very good, but they're better. Will Washington State have a winning record in this rebuild just one time? I mean, the Ball State rebuild. I know we were going against lesser competition for the most part, but we did so much better than this. I don't think we had one losing record that whole time. But let's check out the other bowl games. Actually, they're probably not over yet. No, we're in bowl week 3. Okay, let's wait. Hire staff. Didn't I already do that? I don't know. What? When are these bowl games? They still haven't been played? I thought we're in the national championship week. We are. And the national championship is number 7 versus number 12. What? So, Bowling Green somehow destroyed number 1 Iowa, and Iowa was somehow number 1 at 9-4. Notre Dame snuck one out against Pitt, but then just got blasted by Virginia Tech. That's a really, I forget I said that. And then Virginia Tech got blown out by Texas Tech, who is number 12, by the way. So that's how we ended up with a Texas Tech versus Georgia national championship. I don't even want to talk about the other side because it's boring. It's more normal than the left side over here. The simulation in this game is sure something. I'm curious what Texas Tech's overall is. Do I want to know? Can I check it in the top 25, or do I have to go to conferences? Oh, I can. They're an 84. Okay. Oklahoma's an 87. Notre Dame is an 88. Georgia's a 91. Okay. We have Purdue at number 3 as an 83 overall. Well, we're an 83 overall, and we still haven't had a winning season. We might even be better than an 83 overall now. You know, Bama's really not good in this game. I guess they still went 9-4, but they just weren't ranked high for some reason. Something fishy's happening here. How is Nebraska number 10, 8-5? But like Oregon State was only 16 at 11-2. But all right, we'll see who wins the Natty. We'll see how our teams do in their bowl games. If I see one more person with the last name McNulty, I'm gonna lose it. I've seen too many. It's like Carruthers in Madden or whatever that last name is. Wait, can I not check the bowl games anymore? Well, Georgia won the Natty, unsurprisingly, over Texas Tech. Oh, they did the final top 25. That's good. Hopefully it's a little less insane. It is, thankfully. Oregon State finishes as number 11. That's cool. I don't know. I guess we can't check bowl games anymore. No, we can. So Boise State played Charlotte and got smoked 31-17 in the Tony the Tiger Bowl, my favorite. Oregon State played SMU and destroyed them 45-21. Are there any close games? I mean, this one was close. UNLV won their bowl game against Kansas State. Do we even have UNLV anymore? I genuinely don't remember. We might not. But North Texas won their bowl game against Temple. Toledo lost their bowl game, unfortunately. With how much we've changed, it's hard to remember which teams we have. Can we check? Oh, we can check our conference. I should have been doing it this way the whole time. And then Fresno State destroyed Penn State in the Independence Bowl. Now, I'm no mathematician, but I don't know if that should have happened. That's a little weird. Unless Penn State really fell off here. I don't know. But I think that's the most bowl wins we've had in a season so far. So we are successfully fixing the Pac-12. But it's not over yet. We'll still go at least a couple more years. Ooh, and we have players leaving. I'm scared to look at this one. Okay. Oh, uh-oh. Benji Howden is declaring. He's projected to be a second-round pick, so that was a good recruiting job there. But what if I don't want him to? Let's pull Pete Carroll. Who was the player that he like screwed over at USC? He was a safety, not Sua Cravens. Was it? No, it was older than that. Oh, it was Taylor Mays. That's right. So we'll try to Taylor Mays Benji Howden. I mean, it won't work that way. He should do well, but he does stay, thankfully. We need him bad. Tay Hobbs is trying to transfer. We have other running backs, to be fair, or do we? Oh, maybe we don't. Maybe we do need him. We have a lot of players leaving this year, a lot of good ones. I sure hope the CPU did a good job of scouting. Hobbs leaves. Lyons does stay. That's good. And German's transferring? Really? He would be a full-time starter this year. Why? Okay, have fun being a backup somewhere. I think he's only developed like 3 overall since we had him. I think he was a 74 as a freshman. Don't quote me on that, but I think he was pretty good, and I don't think he's gotten much better. So have fun. But in terms of recruiting, honestly, I don't know if we did too bad. Maybe we did. This is probably our worst recruiting class class yet, but I'm not responsible. Can't blame me for this one. So we'll see where we ranked. Florida had number 1. They committed a virgin, just a virgin. That's really unlucky. Tennessee got a officer, but let's see who was the best Pac-12 team. Tulane once again, number 43. We were at number 75, so I think, were we 63 last year? I think so. So yeah, the worst class we've had. Oregon State all the way down at 78. UNLV all the way down at 130, despite another pretty great year. Interesting. But all right, once again, the satisfying week. Not as satisfying this year. We only go up, I think, 2 overall. We are slowly regressing, unfortunately. Wait, Isaiah Cobb stayed? I thought he left. Maybe he hasn't left yet? Don't know. But we got a ton of receiver development. I'm surprised we're only an 81. We don't have many players that are lower than an 81 overall. Do we have any that are lower than an 81 overall starting? I don't know how overall works in this game. How are we an 81? This team is like stacked. Is it not? I have no idea. But either way, we got tons of training, so we'll take it. We needed it. But this year we're doing something super fun. So we got Utah State out of here. They were terrible. They'll probably do well in the Mountain West. Maybe. I see Colorado State did well in the Mountain West. That's usually what happens. We send them back down and they start to do well because it's less competition or worse competition. And we will bring up Coastal Carolina. Another very possible team if the Pac-12 does somehow stick around. Now they could do really poorly here. We'll see. Like I said earlier, usually first year teams in the conference do poorly, even if they did well in their old one. Plus they're only a 75 overall, but that doesn't really matter. So we'll see what happens. We were a pretty good conference last year though, finally. So let's get into year 5 already. And I wish you could simulate to about the mid-season, but you can only go to, I think it's the playoff polls when those start, which is about week 10. So I guess we'll just get straight there and we'll see how the conference is doing. But for the preseason all Pac-12 list, we have like everybody. I mean, not so much down here for the linebackers and secondary, but we have Casey Smith, Isaiah Cobbs. I'm not going to list all of them, but you see them. I don't know how we're not a better overall and a better performing team. I'm just confused. For the second team, we don't have many players, just Blizzard, and that's it. It's a lot of Oregon State players, but still, it's kind of weird. All we need to do is get worse on paper and we will immediately get better. We are 8-1 at week 10 here with our lowest overall team in a while. They deadass just copy and pasted the simulation from Madden and we're like, yeah, this is good. This is realistic. But how is the rest of the conference doing? Fresno State has the same record as us, but they're ranked. It looks like we started 1-1 and have been undefeated since then. Toledo's 8-2. Nevada and Oregon State are 6-3. North Texas is 6-4. The conference is good this year. There are only two teams with losing records so far. Boise State being one of them at 2-5 and UTSA being the other at 1-8. What happened to UTSA? They were so good. But we have really created something here with all mostly realistic Pac-12 teams. Now we'll have to see how we finish, but we are doing very, very well so far. I feel like we're gonna lose to Utah State because we kicked them out of the Pac-12, but they're also doing horribly in the Mountain West, to be fair, so they deserved it. But let's get to the very end of the year and we will see what happens. We finished the season ranked number 13, going 11-1. That's crazy. We'll have to see who our one loss was in a second, but we were obviously the best team in the conference. I guess every team isn't completely done here. Boise State still has 2 more games to play. How far did they push their schedule back? I don't know, but Fresno State and Nevada both finish at 9-3. Fresno State has been really good this whole time. It's kind of surprising, but they are honestly pretty good in real life most of the time too. But North Texas and Oregon State and Toledo all 8-4, 7-5 for Tulane, and then a few teams 6-6. Only 2 teams with losing records this year, Boise State and UTSA. So we have really built something here. But let's see, what else should we check? I mean, we are the first team out of the playoffs right now. I don't know if we're gonna get in. Do the playoffs happen before the bowl games? Or no, these are conference championships, I guess. The new conferences are so weird. Where do we check the conference championships at? I guess just the schedule. So it's gonna be Liberty and Western Kentucky. I'm not gonna read all these, but Kansas State and Arizona. We need some of these teams to lose. Really, the team we need to lose is Michigan against UCLA. And can we get in? Is that how the rankings work? Would Michigan drop? I would assume so. So we really need UCLA to not get upset here, which now that I'm saying all that. They might. I don't know if Auburn would fall far enough if they lose, because they are playing number 1 Ole Miss. This is scary. We're so close in the year where we have our worst overall team by a pretty big amount, not counting the first year. So let's get to the next week, and what's gonna happen? We committed a punter. That's great. It says number 13. Does it change at any point after this? Or when are the playoffs? Are these locked in? They might be locked in. Michigan beat UCLA. No way. Old Dominion made it? Were they even ranked? Oh, never mind. I thought it was the top 12 ranked teams, but it's just some conference winners too? Is that how it works? I don't know. Because Liberty's a 4 seed, only ranked number 16. Old Dominion is a 12 seed, not even ranked. I guess it's conference winners and it goes off rankings. Who knows? But we were right there, yet still couldn't get in. That sucked. I mean, if we had a conference championship, if I knew how to set one up, maybe there's a way. Tell me if there's a way down in the comments, because I tried to see if there was a way and I didn't know what to look up to find it. Conference schedules and conference championships for custom conferences. But either way, we should get a very good bowl game, I would assume. Blake Barnett wins the Heisman Trophy for Kansas State. And why is it always the Tony the Tiger Bowl? We were in like 3 of them in the Ball State rebuild I did, and that's what we get here. Against East Carolina. We got the Gardner Minshew Bowl, I guess. That's cool. Hopefully we can win this game. I saw for some reason, I don't know if this is right. Can I go to conference standings? Does it show me team overall? Yeah, we are down to a 79. I don't know why. Did players already leave? What happened? Did our depth chart get messed up? No, I don't think so. I mean, I won't mess with it because we're doing well, but why is this the year that we are doing well if we're down to a 79? That's so weird. But all right, let's see. Well, let's check some of the other bowl games because it's not just about Washington State, obviously. So who are the other Pac-12 teams in bowl games? We have Oregon State taking on NC State in the Birmingham Bowl. We're gonna have Toledo versus Florida. Good luck. Coastal Carolina versus Oklahoma in the Cheez-It Bowl. Good luck. I mean, they both have the same record, but we'll see what happens there. Tulane's going to be taking on Wake Forest. It's going to be Fresno State versus FIU. North Texas versus New Mexico. And Nevada versus UTEP. Was that a former Pac-12 team here? I think we had them for a year, then kicked them out because they sucked. And then, of course, us versus ECU, which is a team I was thinking about adding. We could, maybe. But they weren't, like, particularly great this year, even though they made a bowl game. So who's going to get the boot this next year? We might not need to kick anyone out. We did have 2 bad teams, but it's 2 teams that have been good in Boise State and UTSA. Why did Boise State only play 10 games? That's weird. Did they just realize how bad they were and then gave up? I don't know. Can we get the win over East Carolina? Let's find out. Can we finally get our first bowl win? I don't think so. Oh no, we did. Finally, we win a bowl game. We win the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. Now, what was the score? Should we have been a playoff team? Maybe. We beat East Carolina 41-21. We destroyed them. What happened in the rest of the Pac-12, though? So, Oregon State lost. Are there any close games ever? Toledo got destroyed. Coastal Carolina destroyed Oklahoma somehow. Tulane beat Wake Forest by double digits. Fresno State destroyed FIU. Finally, a close game. North Texas loses to New Mexico. And Nevada loses to UTEP. Why is every game such a blowout? Really? Nevada lost to UTEP? I thought Nevada would be one of our stronger teams. I mean, they have been, at least this year. To UTEP? Really? But let's get into maybe the last season here, now that we've kind of reestablished the Pac-12. And let's see if we maybe finally can get a playoff team. Maybe. And I wonder if we're gonna lose our coordinators to bigger jobs. Hopefully not. I shouldn't have said anything. Of course we do. We lose our DC. Great. All right. Is there any way to see what level a defensive coordinator is gonna be? I mean, not level. It shows their level, but their prestige. It seems like all of them we hire are C's. Maybe that's just how it's supposed to be, but I don't know. All right. Who's a 3-4 guy? Alexander Przinski. He's the only 3-4 guy. So sure. Also, it's weird. It doesn't show their face, but if you go into the talent tree, it does. There are a few little things in this game that I think need improved, but overall, I'm a fan. I like it. As an EA hater, it's pretty good, especially the gameplay. The gameplay is fun, and it looks insane. But where do we need to get to? End of season recap? Sure. Hopefully that isn't too far. We finished ranked number 7, and we didn't make the playoffs. The Natty ended up being Ole Miss versus Kansas State. That's kind of a cool one. I kind of like both of those teams. I don't know why. I mean, I guess this is the Seahawks Receivers Bowl. I always gotta correlate the games here with some players that I like, I guess. I don't know. But that is definitely not the most realistic national championship I've ever seen. I mean, I'm sure teams would be different by this point in real life. Still, Liberty almost somehow beat UCLA. Ole Miss, woo. Notre Dame beat Georgia 42-10 just to go on to lose to Ole Miss, who I guess was the 1 seed, to be fair. And then Ole Miss barely beat UCLA. Still so many blowouts, like BYU destroyed Nebraska, Pitt destroyed Arizona. Literally all of the first round games were blowouts, every single one. Other than, I guess, you know, BYU versus Nebraska was 1 point short, whatever. Close enough. But pretty good year finishing at number 7, so we'll take it. And oh yeah, I still gotta check, what was our one loss? What ruined our season? Maybe shouldn't have ruined our season. I still think we should have been ranked higher. We were probably the only team with 1 loss in a pretty good conference. It was Kansas. I mean, Kansas has been getting better with football in real life, but really, they're the team that beats us, not Washington, Texas. That's crazy. Which, by the way, we beat Washington and Texas by double digits? What was up with our team this year? It's just the low overall cheese in Madden, I guess. Just have a bad overall team and you'll do well. I keep calling it Madden. It's close enough. EA football game. But how far should we simulate? A transfer portal's probably too far. Well, no, that's only in a couple weeks, right? I'm definitely gonna accidentally simulate over something super important. I think I might have. I saw the players leaving thing. Did I just let some players go that I shouldn't have? Probably. Did anyone get drafted? Probably, oh, Cobbs got taken in the 2nd round. Howden didn't develop at all in his final year. Stayed at a 90. I mean, at least he was a 2nd round pick. Casey Smith was a 3rd round pick. Cowgill went in the 5th. Hassan went in the 7th. That's a good amount of draft picks for Washington State. I mean, I guess they usually have about this amount, but every other year we've had like 0. I hope nobody too good transferred away. I guess we'll find out. But to be fair, I thought Cobbs transferred away last year, but I went and checked and he was still here. So I don't know. Oh, the team's falling apart without my amazing recruiting. We're down to a 75. What happened? What are we getting? Oh, master motivator. We're gonna be a master of baiting players to come to our school. Let's go. What happened to our team? Do I want to look at the depth chart? Oh, the running backs. Oh no. We have 1. What is the CPU's recruiting strategy? What are we doing? Oh, and I want to see where we rank. I guess the recruiting isn't done yet, but how is the Pac-12 doing so far for recruiting? We're all the way down at 80 as a top 10 team, number 7, and we are at 80. Tulane's getting some players at least. Nevada had a better class than us. Why? How? Like, considerably better. I mean, I get Pullman isn't great, but okay, we're getting a few players, I guess, but probably not enough. We're down to a 74 now. What is happening? All right, let's change some positions here. I mean, we have such good players. Do we just have like massive holes? I don't know. Some ain't right. Hopefully the off-season training helps. But for training, we are thankfully back up to at least an 80 overall. But Marcus Casey is a 94 overall. I guess playing up to a 96. Is he gonna be a 1st round pick? I guess we'll see. Mitch Milanovic, someone we recruited, obviously. We must have recruited Casey too if he's a senior, a redshirt senior. But Milanovic is up to a 91, 93 with morale. Veal is really good. Spencer Wells. We just need more quarterback development, honestly. Like, we have guys, they just aren't really developing. I guess we'll start Humple this year. Horrible last name. Maybe the worst. But Caesar, of course, does have speed. I guess it'll be a decision. We'll see. Asher went up like 13 overall. He was a receiver. I moved him to running back, which is kind of cheesy, but we need all the help we can get, low-key. Our receivers didn't develop all, I don't think. None of them. Like, maybe some of these depth guys a little bit, but I don't think any of our starters got any overall. Same with Blizzard. Some of the linemen developed a little bit, but like 1 overall. I really wanted Gastineau to develop, but... Or no, I don't know if Gastineau was the starter. I think it was Ingold, maybe? I thought Gastineau was like a 59 overall, so maybe we got a big development there. I don't know. And our corners didn't really develop much. This is our problem position. It was receiver, now it's corner. And just secondary in general, we don't have very good free safeties. So I wish our corners developed. There isn't a lot I can do about that, though. I really don't understand how overall works in this game. If I had to guess, I would say this team's like a 90, genuinely. Like, we barely have flaws. We also need a team layout thing. I wish we had that, rather than just looking at the roster. Maybe that's coming, though. I don't know. Let me know if there's... Hold on. on. I have issues with the encourage transfers thing because if we get too many players, if we recruit too many freshmen, it makes it so we have to cut decent players a lot of the time to get down to the normal roster size. I wish you could redshirt guys and then cut players, but I guess it probably doesn't work that way in real life because if you redshirt someone, they're still on the team. I guess, are they? We don't really have to cut too many great players this year, but when we had a really good overall team, it was tough. But should we get rid of UTSA for this last season? They were really bad last year. They have been for the last couple years, but they were one of our best just a few years ago. We'll get rid of them. Let's just send them to the Mountain West, I guess. We'll just kind of make the Mountain West our leftovers. I guess it's kind of what we've been doing, but mostly with, you know, former Mountain West teams, or I guess real life Mountain West teams. So what team should we add for our final season? It looks like Northern Illinois was good, but that's not super exciting. One of these smaller schools could be fun though, like Liberty, maybe. Also Kennesaw State. I've seen a ton of Kennesaw State rebuilds showing up in my recommended. I see so many rebuilds in my recommended, but I don't watch any of them because I play enough franchise on my own. I used to watch them a ton, but I get enough EA Sports video games as is. I don't need more. But you all should click all my videos that you see in your recommended, and if you skip one, you're dead to me, and I will never forget that. Should we add Old Dominion? I mean, they were in the playoffs for some reason. At a 74 overall. That's insane. You know what? I think I've made my decision. Our final addition to the Pac-12 is gonna be Liberty. Also, I find it really weird. Almost every team here is the exact same overall they started as. I mean, they're like slight differences, but I'm pretty sure Oregon State started as an 81. Tulane, I think, joined as an 82. Maybe they joined as an 84 and went down to an 82 and then stayed as an 82. I don't know. Teams aren't really going up or down too much in overall, except us. We were up for a few years, but now we're back down, yet doing better somehow. But this is gonna be the final Pac-12. All semi-realistic teams, mostly. And we have really turned it into a good conference. Not as good as it used to be, but you can't really expect that anymore. So let's get to, well, I still have to do a few things, but we'll see how the conference is doing at week 10. Oh, we do drop all the way down to 20 for the preseason rankings, but hey, that's better than not ranked. But let's get to week 10 and we will see how the Pac-12 does in the final year. Oh, and wait, we have a preseason All-American. It is Marcus Casey. He has 99 zone coverage. What? That's insane. We have some insanely good cover players, at least in zone. Okay, we have really built something here. As Washington State, we are 8-1 and ranked number 6 in the country. North Texas is also ranked at 8-2, ranked number 21. And then a few other good teams, Toledo 7-2, Coastal Carolina, Fresno State, and Liberty 7-3, Oregon State 6-4, and then we even have a few 500 teams. Tulane really fell off here. They're only 4-4, UNLV 5-5, and Wyoming 5-5. Only two bad teams, being Nevada, who was good last year, and Boise State, who used to be good, but now they're the worst team in the conference, with us being the best, despite being not a very good overall anymore, of course. I gotta check once again, who is our one loss so far? Is it a good team, or is it gonna be like FCS Southeast or something? Is that even one of them? I don't know. Okay, no, we did beat FCS West. It was Auburn. Okay, fair, but we're really destroying teams now. UCLA, we beat them easily, yet we almost lost to UMass. We destroyed New Mexico State. We destroyed Ball State, as you would hope, but just Auburn is the one that got us, unfortunately. So no undefeated season, but we do have a few scary games to finish off the season here. I mean, we could even go 8-4. We go against Sam Houston, Tennessee, and North Texas. I'm fully expecting to lose the Sam Houston one because they just always beat me in franchise, or in Dynasty. Tennessee, we did beat, was it last year? We beat them at one point, and then North Texas, I don't remember if we've played yet, but that's like our one in-conference game this year. But let's get to the end of the 2029 season, and we will see how the conference ends up. All right, well, here we are at the end of the final year, and just one thing before I reveal how we did in the final year. If you've enjoyed, be sure to leave a like on the video. It really helps out the channel. It helps YouTube know that people are enjoying this video. I would appreciate it. And again, 3,000 likes and I'll do a full, what do I want to call it without giving it away? It's a conference-related experiment. We'll call it that. And subscribe if you haven't already, because if you like these college football football rebuilds, this is all I'm going to be doing. / experiments, whatever you want to call them. In the final year as the Pac-12, you can see it at the top as Washington State. We finished as number 8, going 10-2. So we did drop one more game. We were number 4 at one point, but it was a scary schedule at the end of the year, so I'm glad we didn't lose more than that. I don't know if we're guaranteed to make the playoffs at 10-2 though, or at number 8, I should say. But the rest of our conference, I saw something interesting. Boise State won the conference at 4-8 because they beat whoever they played. That's interesting. But the actual best teams were Toledo and us, both at 10-2. Toledo finished number 16. Coastal Carolina finished 9-3, ranked 24. Liberty 9-3, ranked 21. North Texas really choked, finished unranked. Fresno State also 8-4, 7-5 for Oregon State, 6-5 for Tulane. UNLV 6-6. And then we had 3 losing teams, one of them being the winner of the division, I guess, or conference. I'm gonna have to get used to saying conference. I guess I've said it about a million times, but I still keep wanting to say division. But Wyoming, Boise State, and Nevada are our 3 losing teams. But we had 4 ranked teams in the Pac-12. Of course, Washington State, Toledo, Liberty, and Coastal Carolina in order. So what a way to finish this off. Now we'll have to see what kind of bowl games we get. Where should we simulate to? I guess just straight to the bowl games. We don't have a conference championship. I wish we did, but we don't. And we dropped to an 80 overall somehow. I don't know how. Oh, and I should check who the other team we lost to is. But Ben Miri wins the Heisman Trophy for the Bears, the Cal Bears. He had 19 receiving touchdowns. Okay. And we do make the playoffs. We are going to be taking on number 4, Notre Dame. Now, that might sound like an undoable task, but we were number 4 at one point this year. We were right where they are, and we do have the same amount of losses. But let's check out some of the other bowl games here. Oh, I can't check. Oh, it's still projections? Well, either way, usually these are right, I think. But Coastal Carolina is going to be taking on UTEP. Liberty is going to be taking on Kennesaw State. Oregon State is going to be taking on San Diego State, someone I thought about adding to the conference at the beginning here. North Texas is going to be taking on Akron. Toledo's going to be taking on Army. It's hard to keep track of every team that's in our conference at this point. Fresno State is going to be taking on Buffalo. Also another team I kind of thought about adding, but I was like, eh. And I'm sure I missed at least a few. Who would I have missed? I guess we'll see once we get a few more weeks in. But this is the game of the entire experiment here. Now, I am fully expecting to lose, honestly. I thought that said 23 sacks for Andy Linderbaum, but 23 tackles, 8 sacks, but nothing else to really do here, so let's simulate this game against Notre Dame, and will we win? We do not. Understandable. They were the better team. Oh, they absolutely cremated us. 33-10, of course. That was the only blowout game of the first round, though. Every other game was super close. And Alabama finally did well. I don't know if I've seen them do well this whole time, but the 4 seed is Southern Mississippi, Southern Miss. I would hope Oregon would win that game. I guess you never know, but I would hope. But I want to check some of the other bowl games here, because even though our rebuild is over, technically, we still have a few more teams in their bowl games. So Coastal Carolina did win theirs, 17-9 against UTEP. Liberty lost to Kennesaw State in a 56-52 game. Overtime, maybe? I guess it would say if it was overtime. That's crazy, though. No defense in that one. Oregon State easily beat San Diego State, 24-10. North Texas beat Akron, 27-22. And Toledo beat Army, 31-28. Are people sleeping on the Pac-12? Should we be ranked higher? I mean, all of our teams are winning their bowl games, I guess, except us, but we had to face Notre Dame. And Liberty should have won their game. I don't know what happened to them. We should have been ranked higher, at least some of the teams here. I mean, it's not like they went against the craziest teams, but we went 4-2 in bowl games. But let's sim straight to the conference championship. We'll check the rest of the Pac-12's games. Did I say conference championship? National championship. I'm still stuck in Madden mode. It's gonna take me a while. No way. Why? The national championship is going to be number 4 Notre Dame against number 22 Southern Miss. who beat Oregon and beat Ole Miss. I want to check something. Okay, I was gonna see if Southern Miss played either of those two teams even close to recently, but no. They've never played Oregon, apparently, and the last time they played Ole Miss, they did beat them, but that was 40 years ago, so I don't know. But either way, I would say we definitely gave the Pac-12 a reason to stick around here, and turned it into maybe not as good of a conference as it has been, but pretty amazing, considering 80% of the teams just left. But that's gonna be it for today. I really hope y'all enjoyed. This was a ton of fun, and I'm definitely gonna be doing stuff like this soon. So subscribe if you for some reason haven't already, super close to 60K, and expect the next video out either tomorrow or the next day. But with that, I'll see y'all again in the next video. Goodbye.